Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. Coach Kilburn here with another video tutorial on Adobe Photoshop CC 2020. Guys, today I'm going to go over all the different selection tools and how you can select images, and then cropping, how you can crop images. Guys, people ask me all the time, how do I get my images open in Photoshop? Easy. I go to the internet, I use some good keywords and some good Boolean searches to find the images I want. I make sure they are high-res images by making sure the resolution numbers are over 1,000, and then I save them. Notice when I save them, guys, I give them names. I think a lot of you are not naming your files when you save, and it's hard to find your files because they got these weird, crazy names. Take the time and save your files with certain names. So, guys, look, I have my view of my folder right now on thumbnails, right? Icons. But your computer is probably on list. So if you can't see the image in the thumbnail and all you see is the name, if you're not properly naming your files with keywords like I do here, it's really hard for you to find your files. So 2 suggestions. Take time to name your files with good keywords. I can look at these names and know exactly what the images are without even opening them up. That saves me a lot of time, and time is money. So the first suggestion is name your files. The second one is, if you have not made a folder for your course for Digital Design 1, make you a folder and keep all your files for this class in that folder. I use OneDrive, right? So I store all my files in OneDrive. You see all my folders and files are named. They're all nice and neat and organized. I highly suggest you do that, okay? So guys, again, how do I open in Photoshop? I go to the internet and I save them. Then over here in Photoshop, I'm just going to click open. I'm going to file open, just like any other computer application. Okay. So guys, look, I'm going to show you a quick shortcut on how to open more files at the same time. You can open multiple files at the same time. So I'm going to open about 5 or 6 files. I don't want to file open 1 and then file open 2 and then file open 3. I'm going to open them all at the same time. How do I do that? I hold Control on the keyboard if I'm on a PC, and I hold Command on the keyboard if I'm on an Apple. That will allow me to bounce around and select more than one file at the same time. So I'm going to select the beach ball on blue, right? I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select the elephant in the woods. I want the perspective wooden walkway. I want the skyscraper, and I want the person dark room, right? You notice I selected all of those at once by holding down Control or Command, and now when I hit open, it's going to open all those files in Photoshop at the same time. All my tabs will be consolidated along the top. Okay, so save yourself some time and hold Control on a PC or Command on a Mac and open up multiple files at the same time. Again, that is intended to save you some time, and we know time is money. Okay. All right, so here go all our files. If you notice, they're opening at the top. They're all consolidated along the top. So let's do some selections, okay? Guys, if you have an image like this, and maybe you want one of the skyscrapers, you don't want both skyscrapers, you just want one. Well, guys, over here, there's a tool called the Polygonal Lasso tool. So what is a polygon? Think math. A polygon, poly means multiple. So a polygon is a shape with multiple sides. So what's our first multiple-sided shape? I'll give you a second. Yes, it's a triangle. A triangle has 3 sides. So what are polygons? Triangles, squares, rectangles, octagons, decagons, heptagons, okay? All that stuff from geometry. So guys, I can click in a straight line. So I'm going to start here. This is called my Genesis point. Genesis is the start. I'm going to click. Creates a Genesis point, and I'm going to move down the line to this point and click. I'm going to move down to this line and I'm going to click. And if you notice, guys, every time I click, it creates a point or a node. Okay, I screwed up there, so I got to Control D to deselect. I apologize, but my laptop keys are very sensitive. Okay, so this tool is good for selecting things in a straight line. Right? So it's a really good tool. You can come down here along the edge of the document. Guys, look, when I get back to my Genesis point, notice my tool. Notice a little circle pops up. Guys, when that circle pops up, that tells you that you are now on the Genesis point, and then you can click and select. So now I have a selection of just that skyscraper. I can copy that and now paste that on another document, okay? So that is this tool. It's a selection tool. It's called the polygonal lasso. It creates straight edge selections, okay? All right, let's move over here. Guys, same thing with this wooden walkway, right? This same tool is really good for that. Let's say I want the wooden walkway, but I don't want the sky and I don't want the handrails. Well, again, I can click here. That's my Genesis point. The Genesis point is the first point, right? Every time I click, it creates a straight line. Boom, again, you can come down here along the edges of the document. Don't worry about that, you're all good. And again, when you get back to that original Genesis point, notice that little circle that pops up. Then you can click and you have your selection. Guys, you don't always have to copy and paste. Maybe I want to come up here and add a filter. Now the filter is only going to be applied on the walkway, right? So you find whatever cool filter you want, right? Boom, I like cutout. So then boom, notice when I deselect, the filter has only been applied to the walkway, right? All right, let's bounce over here to another image. All right, this person in a dark room. Guys, maybe we want to crop an image. Maybe we don't want a landscape image. Maybe we want it portrait. We don't want all this extra space over here and all this extra space over here. We just kind of want to crop it down so it's just the subject matter. So guys, here's the old school way of cropping. You come in here and you select your rectangular marquee. You click and drag the area you want to keep. And you can come up here to the image menu and there's a crop command. So when I select crop, everything outside of that selection is going to be deleted. It's going to go away, right? Everything in the selection is going to remain. Boom. So that's cropping an image, right? So you can crop images that way. All right, guys, I'm going to back up in my history panel real quick because I want to do something else with this image. All right, guys, there's now a crop tool. So right over here, you have a crop tool. Guys, there will be direct questions on the certification test about using the crop tool. So make sure you practice and you learn how to use this tool, okay? Guys, there are some other tools under here, but right now we're just going to stick with the regular crop tool, okay? The crop tool. Notice when you select the crop tool, it gives you these little handles or these little bars. Guys, you just click those and you drag them in, okay? Drag it in where you want it to go, right? You can move the image around inside that area to kind of get exactly what you want. And guys, I need to teach you about these lines and these boxes. There's 1, 2, 3 rows. There's 1, 2, 3 columns. Those 3 vertical columns and those 3 horizontal rows, they create 9 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is called the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is a good way to compose your photographs and your designs so that it looks pleasing to the eye. Why do they call it the rule of thirds? Because there's 3 columns, there's 3 rows. If you think of the 9 boxes, 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So think of 3, 6, 9, rule of thirds, okay? So again, guys, the way you use the rule of thirds is you want to try to line things up on these lines and maybe at a corner point. So notice I kind of cropped it so her head is kind of in this crosshair right here. Her body kind of runs along this line, okay? So you can't line up everything, but that's kind of how you want to line things up. And again, I need you to know the rule of thirds. That's going to be a question on the certification test. And you're also going to need to know how to use this crop tool, okay? So guys, there's some other things up here on the crop tool, right? You can crop to a 1x1 square, 5x7 photo, 16:9 means widescreen like a TV. So these are all different ratios. These are different ratios that you can crop in, okay? Notice when I went 16:9, it changed to a widescreen look. Okay, if I go 1 by 1 square, it makes a 1 by 1 square, right? But don't forget, you can move these lines however you want. But I'm telling you, on the certification exam, they're going to want you to come up here. They'll tell you which one to pick, and you just pick that. Guys, after you crop, again, you got to apply the transformation by hitting this check, okay? Or you can hit enter on the keyboard. All right, more selection tools, more cropping. We're going to keep moving now. Again, this elephant in the woods. Maybe we don't want the entire image. We can use the crop tool, crop things down. Notice right now that it's always remaining in a square shape. Why? Because I have it set up here on 1 by 1 square. Okay. If you want to decide the ratio, you just go to original ratio. And you can click and drag. You can decide where it goes. You can move the image around in there. Again, try to line things up on these crosshairs and these lines. And then you apply the transformation. Okay. All right, let's do a couple more. Let's get rid of that crop tool. Guys, here I have a beach ball on this blue background. I want the beach ball, right? So far we've been using our quick selection tool, and we've kind of been selecting that way. Again, that's quick and easy. That works on this image, right? Sometimes we've been using the magic wand. The magic wand selects based on color. Guys, with the magic wand, you need to hold down Shift. Shift will allow you to add to your selection, right? But if you notice, that's kind of taking some time. That's taking a while, so that's really not the best tool for that, right? Guys, if you just click once with the magic wand and it selects, but you don't hold Shift, it's going to get rid of the original selection, and it thinks you want to make a new selection. So again, to add to any selection, hold down Shift on the keyboard and it adds, right? Again, that still took a little bit too much time. So guys, there's a tool up here again called the elliptical marquee. It will select things in ellipses and ovals. So one thing I do is I use my rulers. How do you use your rulers? You go to view and turn your rulers on. I showed you in another video that you can drag guides down. So I'm going to select something circular like this ball. I'm going to select these guides and drag them in and create me a cross point, right? That way I know I can kind of start here, and when I click and drag, it's going to help me kind of select that ball in a circular fashion. Okay. So again, that's not a perfect selection. I could copy and paste to another image, or again, maybe I come up here to a filter. Maybe I come over here to my image adjustments, right? And I add an image adjustment, change the colors, right? Boom, 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 make it funky looking, right? Boom. All right. So guys, that's selections. You have the elliptical marquee, you have the rectangular marquee, you have the quick selection in the magic wand. Don't forget, you also have the object selection. What does the object selection do? You can just click and drag a box around that object, and it'll try its best to select it. So guys, it depends on what image you're using, what selection tool you're going to use. Okay, I'll show you two more tools because the video is getting kind of long. We got the lasso tool and the magnetic lasso tool. So here's what the lasso tool does. It allows you to make a freehand selection. Where you at? Right? Come on, where you at? Where you at, lasso tool? There you are. Think of a rope. I can kind of freehand the selection I want to use. Freehand select. Again, I can copy and paste. I can add an image adjustment. Right? I can add a filter. Control D to deselect. And then the other one was, what I say? Oh, the magnetic lasso tool. Watch this, guys. Think of like putting magnets on the refrigerator. When that magnet gets close to the refrigerator, it kind of pulls it in. So this magnetic lasso, as long as you got a good contrast around the edges between your object you're trying to select and the background, if you click and drag, notice it creates all these little magnets, all these little nodes and points around what you're trying to select, right? So again, for time purposes, I'm just going to go kind of quick here. It's not going to be a perfect selection. Again, guys, you see that as you move it, it kind of adds these nodes kind of around the edge of your object. Again, when you get back to the Genesis point, notice that little circle that pops up. You're good to click. Okay. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I know the video is 15 minutes long, but I did want to show you all the different selection tools and how to crop. All right. Practice, practice, practice. Have some fun.